Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. Hope everybody's doing fantastic out there as I continue my stay here in the middle of nowhere. Saw the Miami Heat posted something today, and I was glad about it because I don't feel like much has been spoken this offseason about what the future is of one Terry Rozier, a.k.a. Scary Terry. In the video that the admin had put up, and he was saying about that he's looking forward to next year.
A lot of fun. I'm definitely excited for next year and the whole offseason.
Terry Rozier. Now, I don't know when this video was taken, to be fair. I don't know when the great Miami Heat social media team put this together. I don't know if this was on like exit interview day because I don't believe Terry did an exit interview. I don't know if he was just out of the building when working out one day or whatever. I don't know. But if I had to guess, it was probably a little bit after the season ended. And it is an interesting one because with Terry, you know, this guy is a bucket maker, dude. I mean, he really thrilled in moments this year in his Heat jersey. And it is so unfortunate with how his season ended because he was brought here to infuse life into this dead corpse, pulseless offense. If I cannot be any clearer how boring this team could be offensively to watch at times, Terry Rozier was like a roller coaster in a library. That's the excitement levels that he would bring with some of the shot making at times that he was able to bring. But, you know, of course, with Terry, it was interesting because he didn't really get to fill in, you know, like he talks there about the first thing in infiltrating with Heat culture, but it was a tough thing to fit in with everybody and to get his legging around everybody because you have this team that already you're scoring. Imagine this: you're scoring 23 a game. You come to a team that has Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler. They're losing Kyle Lowry, their point guard. At some point, Tyler Hero is going to come back. And you're trying to figure out how those 20-point game scorers can all fit in with you. And so naturally, you know, his scoring dips down to about 16 a game. You're having a big 7-point per game dip for him. And you're like, yeah, you know, is this the same guy? Is this the guy you traded for? What is this? But man, right before he got hurt, right before Scary Terry had the whole neck issue, he was hitting some big onion shots, love. Because, I mean, the Cleveland game on the road, what was he in that game? He was just a cool 5 of 6 from downtown in that one, 24 points. But they were biggins. Big onions shots from Scary Terry. And then probably his biggest game of the year is arguably the Miami Heat's biggest win of the season, which was, I mean, they really weren't good against good teams or decent teams in the Knicks. Pains me to say this, they were a good team, good record, 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. And I would say, yeah, the home game against the Knicks, probably their best win of the season. Oof. Just kind of goes to tell you what the struggles were this regular season. But he was 8 of 11 from downtown. He was 34 points for that game. He was just a bucket, man. And I don't know if we really truly got to see the sense of what Terry Rozier could bring to the team for a couple of reasons. One, the neck injury obviously happens. He gets hurt at the most important time of the year. And you know, Spo talked about this with Terry coming into the Miami Heat, that he came from a different perspective of the other guys. Everybody else on this Miami Heat team, a little sick, a little bit of a fat cat syndrome with the lot of them, right? Jimmy maybe coasting some games. Bam, he's just trying to hold everybody together with duct tape to get through this season. Tyler's obviously not healthy, but they've all been far. They've all been to great places. Nobody's really done any losing on that roster. Kevin Love obviously been to the heights that he's been. Duncan Robinson really hasn't, you know, personal struggles, but not team struggles. Terry Rozier went from big playoff moments in the Celtics and had it, boom, taken away. Ironically, with this whole Kyrie Irving thing that's going on right now, like bringing this all into the fold of it, right? this guy was the bucket getter, Scary Terry. I mean, they were making sure it's, my boy, Brian London. He bought a Scary because he's a Celtics fan. A Celtics fan. You're not a Heat fan. He bought a Scary Terry Boston Celtics shirt, And me, like when he became a member of the Miami Heat, I bought a Scary Terry mask because he's on the Heat, because I'm a Heat fan, which is what you do. You buy memorabilia of the team you root for, Brian. Anyway. But it was just tough because, he has this injury. I think it happened against Houston because the Indiana game was after that, and he just wasn't himself. And he had even said, I think I hurt the team being out there with whatever the hell happened with this neck. But it was crucial for a couple of reasons because it seemed like the Miami Heat were heading towards this crescendo of he was playing great. Tyler was coming back. Maybe Tyler was going to come off the bench. It seemed like Tyler had accepted that role where he had not been in a place to accept that role. And instead, we're at this place where it's like, oh, man, now it has to go back to Tyler Hero starting, Terry Rozier, who knows when he's coming back. And the Miami Heat had really lost their big acquisition. And this point guard spot, if you will, has been a little bit cursed because it's like you pay Kyle Lowry, and it has its moments, but I don't think lived up to expectations and never really got to hit maybe its full potential. So you trade Kyle Lowry, which was a very obvious move that you had to do, and they upgrade, give him a first-round pick, take on some more commitment of money, but you take it on for a guy who just adores the idea of being on the Miami Heat, right? Adores the idea of being part of Heat culture, idolizes Dwayne Wade. And it's ripped from him. And that just seems unfair, And so, I don't know. I don't know where this, I don't know where this goes. If you don't recall the comments from Pat Riley had said on Terry Rozier and where things stand with him that, he even said, I think Pat said that he was still in a neck brace, or he had seen him recently and that he was in a neck brace. So he was doing all that. And when you're saying neck brace weeks after something happens, that's concerning. That's obviously concerning to figure out about where an injury's at and what he's dealing with and everything that he's going through, that he is at this kind of a spot with his health.
Well, I see him with a neck brace on, so he's doing everything that he's supposed to do. I met with him the other day, and he said he felt good, but this is a process, by which it takes time. He gets hit, he hits the floor hard, he gets, pick and rolls, he gets screened. I mean, I'm surprised that, even with Duncan, with his back injury, this, when you're dealing with the spine, you don't mess around. We were not going to mess around with Terry, and he wanted to play desperately, so he couldn't. That's it. So that, it's going to heal. The doctors are going to convinced us and him that in time this thing will heal and it will go away. Exactly what his reputation is, from that standpoint. Scary Terry, I mean, he had some games where it was all right there. But I do think after the trade, it took a while for him to settle in. Everybody's telling him, be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. Well, being himself in Charlotte is different than being himself here in Miami. But we're happy to have him. Our offense, at 21, we needed more firepower. We felt that he could give it to us, and he did. So that's all going to have to sort itself out with Spo and the staff, with our key guys who we depend on to score. But Terry was everything that I expected. I had a great conversation with him, about some things. He's open. He wanted to know from me what I thought about what he can do, even at his age, which is still young. And I gave him my opinion, and I'm sure he'll work on it. But he was a great addition for us, absolutely.
And I do think that Pat makes a good point. It's not easy to be yourself coming in here with this. This is from the Miami Herald. Anthony Chang. Rozier averaged 16.4 points, 4.2 rebounds, 4.6 assists, 1 steal per game, shooting 42.3% from the field and 37.1% from 3 in 31 games in 30 starts for the Heat before being sidelined by a neck injury. With a Heat team that needed players who could put pressure on the rim, Rozier provided that by averaging the third most drives to the basket on the team this season with 10.3 per game, only behind Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero. So this does beg a big question with the Miami Heat. Where do they stand with Terry Rozier, right? He's coming into he has 2 years left on his contract. It's about $50 million. It's like 24 and change next year. The last year is 26. I think there's like some fugazi like guarantee stuff that's there as well. But all in all, it's about 2 years, $50 million plus, right? So definitely something that's sizable that could be used in a big trade. So here's the question. Why keep Terry Rozier, right? Well, we know that he's an absolute bucket. We know that he can attack the rim. He feels like he could be a good fit with these guys. And it did feel like for a guy everybody was worried, he needs the ball in his hands at all time. He needs to, he's going to try and take it. Really, he was going to try and take over. He was going to mess up the chemistry. If anything, from everybody's perspective, it was the opposite. That Terry Rozier was trying to be too cautious of not stepping on people's toes. And will that be better, cleaner the next time it comes if you go a full training camp into this? Because the Heat still need guys who can create their own shot, difficult bucket getters. And with Terry Rozier, there's definitely a need there. There's still definitely a need there. And there's a bit of what if. Like, look, people can sit here and they can mock the name of Terry Rozier, and you can say, this guy is what he is. But not having Terry Rozier and Jimmy Butler, would you have beaten the Celtics? This was my whole point with, the question to Pat Riley, right? Like, did Pat Riley see that and see before he told Jimmy Butler to keep your mouth shut? The whole point of it was, did Pat Riley, could he analyze seeing his team and knowing what Jimmy and Terry could provide? Does he see a vast gap there? Or did he think that the pieces just coming back healthy would be enough? I think every Heat fan is sitting here and they want big changes. We may be getting those with or without Terry Rozier regardless, right? Depending on the Jimmy Butler contract and seeing what the situation is there. But could Terry Rozier provide something useful for this Heat team next year? I think absolutely. So, you think about a guy who can make something out of nothing, so happy to be in Miami, idolizes the icon of the franchise in Dwayne Wade, really have untapped potential with the chemistry of everybody else. And that includes Tyler Hero. The unfortunate thing of these guys not really getting to work it out with each other has nothing to do with either one. You can't just assume negatively it wasn't going to work. We just don't know. We don't know. In a starting lineup and a closing lineup, could Boy Wonder and Scary Terry work together? I don't know. I think that they're both just such sensational shot makers. Defensively, does it have its issues? Yeah, I could see that potentially bearing some issues, but it's a hell of a scoring punch. I think everybody's kind of going to the realm of you need maybe the setup guy and somebody who does something a little bit different. And, there's been all this talk. Of course, this also one of the things that coincided with all this was Duncan Robinson's back spine injury. So that backcourt of Terry, Tyler, Duncan, just never healthy together, never really got a sense of what it is. So these are the what ifs of going into next season. Why move on from him or why not? Well, he's, look, Terry Rozier, I can say this he is what he is. I think he's very talented. I think he's kind of a cut below the stars of this league. He's not a star. He's not an all-star. He's not Damian Lillard. He's not Donovan Mitchell. He's not Trae Young. He's not these things. He's not this guy. We saw with him on a team this year where he got to have all the usage in the world. One of the worst teams in the league. In a team like the Miami Heat, he can have his big moments, which is, I think, what they want from him, and he can still be an effective impact. But can he be your best player? Can he be one of your top 3 players? I think that's a bit of a big ask. It doesn't mean the other moves can't come from somewhere else. We were talking about the marketing thing yesterday. I don't know how much legitimacy there is to that move or not, but I think the big thing with Terry, just looking at it, is everyone's going to look at it almost like the Tyler thing, and he's a little bit older. Terry Rozier's 30 years old, going to be 31 in the middle of next year, and they're going to say, yeah, but, like people were trying to do that thing with like, look at his numbers, look at Dame's numbers. It's like, yeah, but he's not Damian Lillard. Like we could sit here, we could play stat muse, but he's not. It doesn't mean he's not talented. It doesn't mean he's not a bucket. I've rained these last 13 minutes, raining the dude down with compliments. I like Terry Rozier as a player. I think he's a good dude. I like him as a talent. I like the fact that the guy's, basically been a grown-up Heat lifer, and it means something to him to play for the Heat. But something tells me that the pundits, gas bags like myself, show pony harpooners who want to always have an eye wandering, are always going to be thinking to themselves, yeah, but what, if you're going to bring in a Donovan Mitchell, does that even work with Terry Rozier? Like, could you make that work? Does that even make any sense? Terry Rozier, Ohio guy, maybe he wants to go home when possible. These are just the things that just come out of your mouth. You just wonder about him. You don't know. But that to me is the looming cloud that's just over Terry Rozier, right? Like, not a ball hog, not a chemistry issue, not a winning player. He's just not a star. That's the only knock you can say on Terry Rozier is very good, very talented, could hit some big-time buckets, maybe could have some big-time playoff moments, again, like he did with the Boston Celtics if he got a chance. But throughout the year, no one's going to go into next year thinking the Miami Heat are taking the next step because they have a healthy Terry Rozier, right or wrong. And so that's just the big question of it is, will the Miami Heat look at that and say to themselves, he's good. He's no Spider. He's no Damian Lillard. He's no whomever they may be getting the game for. I don't think it's the first or second domino that we have to look for, which is why, it's taken me all these offseason videos to even get to talking about Terry Rozier, because it's a bit of a mystery. Also looming with the neck, we don't even really know how serious. He hasn't spoken on it. We don't really know how serious what he went through is, other than Pat Riley saying that he was in a neck brace and Spo saying that he really wanted to be out there. But it is definitely part of the mystery going into next year for sure, about what is Terry Rozier's future with the Miami Heat and what is his role just next year with the Miami Heat, if there is one.